Hi everybody, I'm Girl Writes What, and this manipulative bitch. I tend to come across as extremely reasonable even when I'm saying outrageous things. Intellectual dishonesty and resistance to logic. Constantly stroking our egos and nibbling our cunt lips. And yes, I'm speaking in generalizations. You see how all of that works? Our male-dominated society has always been gynocentric. The gynocentrism is where the male domination all came from.
No fucking way.
It's chicanery and pandering of the cheapest order. Attacking feminism for the sake of attacking feminism. I think if I was going to be an object, I'd rather be a sexual one.
Aren't you aware that statistically, sexual assault is one of the most underreported crimes in our society?
Don't care.
And the way alleged victims are treated is part of the problem.
Don't care. It's mind-boggling. It really, really fucking is. And keep in mind the rapey overtones. All roads lead to misogyny. Eugenics seems like a better idea every day. We want to live in an estrogen-free world because of misogyny. Because they're too busy admiring their own vaginas.
According to the feminists on Twitter.
I want you to lick my butthole. Oh, here's some more rapey stuff. No, I actually don't think that there's a place for feminism in the Middle East or in Africa.
Of course she doesn't believe it's necessary in the Middle East and Africa, and there's absolutely no element of religious or cultist thinking in that mental process, eh? Hello there, and welcome, one and all, to episode 2 Little Ducks 22 of The Descent of Man-osphere. The series where I take you through the ways in which the manosphere and its utterly disgusting inhabitants are trying to reverse human evolution and drag us all back into the fucking sea. And today we're dealing with a Canadian femme-RA who looks a hell of a lot like Cameron Fry from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Seriously, if you're a younger person, Google that shit. Yes, it's Karen Straughan! Now, Karen Straughan, otherwise known as Girl Writes What, because that was her original name or handle here on the YouTubes, is a female MRA, one of the regular cast at Honey Badger Radio, and is an all-round superstar of the manosphere. And frankly, the only reason she's had to wait for so long for her induction into the Hall of Shame that is The Descent of Man-osphere is because she's produced an absolutely inhumane amount of content, what with her fucking own channel and the Honey Badger Radio stuff and speeches and debates and all sorts of ridiculous amounts of stuff which I've had to wade through. It's been emotional. She also did a couple of debates with yours truly because, quite frankly, her standards aren't very high, it seems. But anyway, like a lot of MRAs, she doesn't seem particularly keen on women.
Fuck's sake, feminists. You aren't doing much to dispel the myth that women can't math. Specific crimes against women, rape and sexual assault, and sexual harassment is another one. I think a lot of women bring it on themselves. Female power was the power of complaint and manipulation. You know, you go to the fucking slut walk and you see these massively overweight women dressed in, like, next to all together. Oh my goodness. Listen, bitch, don't be a hoe. I like pickup artists, right? I like the whole idea of it. I like MGTOW. I like the whole idea of that. All while employing the exact same manipulative tactics as their ancestors did. Decrying MRAs out because they're too busy admiring their own vaginas.
Yes, even the women in the MRM seem to hate women. And they wonder why they get a reputation as woman haters. It's just fucking baffling, isn't it? But anyway, as I mentioned, Karen is one of the regular, and indeed founder, members of the Honey Badger Radio crew, who are a female MRA collective, or largely female anyway. There are a few men that get sprinkled in there as well. But essentially their kind of USP is that they're women who are MRAs. And as part of that, Karen does a regular show called Rant Zerka, which she co-hosts with the Honey Badger Radio's resident fucking mentalist Alison Tiemann. And the reason I've introduced you to the Rant Zerka show will become apparent in a couple of minutes. But I did want to bring to your attention this one little thing, because it did make me laugh whilst listening to the endless fucking hours and hours of these Rant Zerka fucking pieces of shite. And that is a thing that me and Karen have in common, sort of, in that we get disrupted from a not necessarily human source whilst recording.
I'm gonna kill my dog because she's barking. Hero dog, I will fucking beat you. Go lie down. One dog, I am going to beat the ever-loving shit out of you. Stop growling. There's nothing out there. Okay, sorry. Yes, just it didn't come out, right? It didn't turn out. So dog, I swear I'm gonna kill my fucking dog. Sure, because I'm getting up and I'm letting my freaking retarded dog out because she's not gonna stop. Stop, get down, back off. Stay. Back.
Oh my god. All right, well, so that was a thing. Karen let her dog out.
Yes. I have a very similar thing happen to me with Rory Cats. Because I'm in the room alone talking aloud, he thinks I'm talking to him, and so he will come and try and basically interrupt me whilst I'm filming. Don't you, Rory Cats?
What? What is going on? I was enjoying a nice sleep.
Oh, I was just saying you were always interrupting me whilst I'm trying to film stuff.
Oh, you are filming one of these god-awful pieces of shit. I do not care. What I do care about is chicken. Get me the chicken.
Okay, I'll get you some chicken in a minute, Rockets. I'm just doing the video. But anyway, let's move on, shall we? Because now it's time for... Yes, it's the inevitable bit about Lacey Green.
Okay, so I'm gonna like set this back to 1 second because she talks so fast that you might actually miss something in that 1 second.
Indeed.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Here we go. We're diving right into it. I've taken my 4 extra strength Tylenol, drank that last little bit of wine. I'm ready. I didn't actually take that much Tylenol. It's bad for your liver to mix that with alcohol. But here we go.
Okay.
So, you're a feminist now.
No, I am not.
Well, obviously she's not referring to you, is she? I mean, look, Karen, you are a middle-aged anti-feminist. Lacey Green's target audience are largely teenagers and largely more susceptible to feminism. This video is clearly being aimed at people, mainly young women, who are just discovering feminism and getting into it, okay? So why the fuck did you react as if this was being directed to you when it wasn't? You're just being a facetious dickhead about it.
How much are you willing to tolerate the non-feminists in society? Feminists are, because it seems like you like to apply a lot of pressure, not actual violent pressure, at least a lot of moral pressure, like you're morally superior to us.
Yeah, and anybody who is a non-feminist is actually intellectually bankrupt. That they just don't know, they just don't get it. There's something missing there. There's something missing in their brain, and
Yep, that's pretty much spot on, to be honest.
It's a bit problematic up in here.
yeah, it always is. Okay, I just want to draw attention to something. This show is called Braless. I can almost guarantee you Lacey Green is wearing a bra right now.
I know, right? It's crazy, isn't it? She's called it braless, and yeah, she's wearing a bra. And you know what else I've noticed, right? You know that show, The Office, right? Most of those people, they don't work in an office. Most of them are actors. I know, it's crazy. And you know that show, Britain's Got Talent? Well, some of the people aren't from Britain, and most of them haven't got any fucking talent. But wait for this one, right? This is crazy. You know that internet group called the Honey Badgers? They're not really honey badgers. They're people. But don't worry, between me and you, Karen, right, we're going to blow the lid off this whole, the title of the show not necessarily being 100% representative of everything in the show, conspiracy. Between me and you, we're going to blow this one wide open.
I know, it's this, like, yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's sort of a minor quibble, except it does sort of call into question her authenticity and honesty, period.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. In the fucking slightest, okay? What a ridiculous piece of nitpicking fucking bullshit. And before any of you say, oh, it was Alison Tiemann that said it, Karen Straughan said yes at the end. She agreed with that shit. She took that opinion on herself, okay? So, you know, shut up.
braless, really?
What's up, everyone? Lacey Green here. Last week I checked out the VMA.
Oh, she is. See, I see her bra strap right here. Right here's her bra strap, and here's the edge of her shirt, right? And here's her other bra strap. You can tell by the little plastic clip, right there.
Yep.
And there's the other edge of her shirt sleeve. She's wearing a bra, people. She's a complete fucking fraud.
How does that make her a fraud in the fucking slightest, you mental case? So far in this video, all of your points have been banal to the point of anal prolapse. I mean, up your fucking game, Straughan. You're supposed to be one of the intellectual powerhouses of the manosphere. Fucking hell.
And so, like, I'm not begrudging her the comfort of, a lot of women with smaller breasts, given the architecture and engineering of bras, they find them very uncomfortable. But when compared with weighty things like Lacey Green's breasts, just kind of hanging all out there, and
Yeah, that's more uncomfortable.
it is. It absolutely is. So I'm not begrudging her wearing a bra. I'm just kind of wondering why she called her show braless if she's going to wear a bra for everyone.
Well, I think
Firstly, I'm sure that Lacey is just absolutely thrilled that you don't begrudge her wearing a bra. I'm sure she's had many sleepless nights waiting for that confirmation to come through. Secondly, how do you know she named the show? I mean, MTV is quite a powerful corporation in the entertainment industry, isn't it? Probably powerful enough to insist that the shows are called what they want them to be called. So maybe she didn't name the show. But also, let's grant that she named it, right? So she called the show Braless, and then decided, at least some of the time, to wear a bra. So fucking what? It's the name of a show. That's all. It doesn't imply that every single person that appears in that show all the time has to not be wearing a bra. That's not how it works. Otherwise, I would expect on your show for there to only be honey badgers. But they're not. Quite often there are people. Unless you ask the MGTOWs, because they don't really consider women to be people, but that's a different issue, okay? You are actually people. And now we're about 10 minutes into your show, and so far you've been whittering on about the most fucking pointless, nitpicky bullshit.
white and probably has experienced very little deprivation in her life, aside from criminal activity, which is something that we can all be subject. Yeah.
Look at her upper arms. I don't think she's going hungry. And I'm
No,
not
she's not going
saying
hungry.
to body shame her. I'm just saying that she's not going hungry.
Oh, so you're just going to fat shame her? I mean, she's not even, like, obese or anything. She's just ever so slightly chunky. And yet you're going to diss on her for that. What a prick.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Carrying on.
Weekend calls women bitches and hoes. What's
Oh, my goodness. Listen, bitch, don't be a hoe.
Okay.
So what? So what? So what? Some guy raps or does hip hop and calls women bitches and hoes. I forgot. No woman ever behaved like a bitch. No woman ever behaved like a hoe.
Not
And if
possible.
she did, that's perfectly within her rights, and she should never be judged by, for that.
Well, how phenomenally disingenuous of you. Because you know that in certain types of music, words like bitches and hoes are not just being used to describe women who are sexually promiscuous, but are being used to denigrate all women. So even if you're one of these people that agrees that slut shaming is a good thing to do, which, by the way, you shouldn't be one of those fucking people, but even if you are, this argument still doesn't apply in this case. Because this isn't even, as you see, an accurate description of behaviour. It's being used to smear and tar all women, regardless of their sexuality. I mean, this is being used to describe nuns as well. Like, it's ridiculous.
Ultimately, everything, what is problematic is anything that harms women, in their parlance.
Or
Anything that
annoys
harms
them,
women.
or annoys them, or calls them out on their behavior, or yeah.
Does like the thing is, it's only and you can only allow those men who are part of another group. So essentially what they're doing is they're saying that the only measuring stick that we can measure the morality of society by is harm to women. That's it. Because if they'll only acknowledge harm to men if men fall into categories unrelated to being male.
Yeah,
Like-
no, you can. A black man can be harmed because he's black. A gay man can be harmed because he's gay. A Muslim man can be harmed because he's Muslim. But not because he's male.
No.
No.
Okay.
See, you set the game up so that we can't possibly win. This is why we call you ideological. This is why we call you ideological, fucking puritanical, fucking crazy bastards, okay? Because even when feminists deal with issues pertaining to men, you're still not fucking happy. That's still not good enough because, what about the men's? Now later on in the video, they address some fan mail. Now, it's not got anything to do with Lacey Green, but fuck it, I'm going to respond to this little bit anyway because it's my fucking show.
All right, so Goth Navy Wife writes, I love everything you do, but I'm a little confused as to whether Karen or Allison is the rant zerker, because both of you get into some epic rants. May I suggest switching the title to The Rant Zerkers, plural, instead? Both of you deserve credit for rant zerking.
Okay. I think that's just a semantic argument. I think that's just pedantic.
Oh my fucking god, I can't believe that you, a person who spent the fucking first 10-15 minutes of this video going on about the name of the show not necessarily being absolutely 100% representative of the content of the show, and disingenuously claiming that she was referring to you as a feminist when she wasn't actually talking to you as part of her target audience at all. I can't believe that you are having a go at somebody else for using semantic arguments and being pedantic. When it comes to the use of semantic arguments and pedantry, you are the fucking queen. But anyway, let's move on, shall we?
Fuck off.
Now, as we just saw in the last segment, the what about the men's line of argumentation is one of Karen's favourites. I mean, it really is her absolute tip-top go-to deflection tactic.
Trolls who attack women online, and who we must then assume never attack men.
And if you didn't fit the bill, they'd basically tell you to suck it up and move on with your life.
The way they tell the vast majority of male rape victims, you know, like that.
We brought it on ourselves, right? When we artificially prioritized women's education and ignored men's problems. So,
shoveling coal onto a lorry was considered light duty compared to what many men did for a living back then. And no matter how many feminists I meet, I have yet to receive an impression that the first consideration of that feminist is a man's humanity. So we don't have to care about raising boys into good men, and so we just don't care about it. We don't have to care about educating boys, because we don't need them to get an education. We don't need them to be the ones supporting their family. All I could really think as Eve was talking about the plight of women in the Congo was, if it's that bad for women and girls, I can't even imagine how it must be for men and boys. What exactly is feminism doing to dismantle this traditional role of the disposable male?
Yes, the disingenuousness just oozes from her every utterance. But let's move on, shall we, to something a little different, because there was one thing I wanted to touch upon, which I'd like to have gone into more detail about, but time constraints and all of that meant that I'm just going to touch upon it a little bit more briefly. And that is the weird as fuck video she did about Anders Breivik. Now, for those who don't know, Anders Breivik is a Norwegian neo-Nazi mass-murdering terrorist who in 2011 set off a car bomb in the centre of Oslo, the capital of Norway, and then later on that day went on a shooting spree at a political youth camp on Utoya Island. And in the two attacks he killed 77 people, the vast majority of whom were 18 years of age or under. And the attacks also left around 320 injured. So you'd think with that kind of shit on someone's resume, it would be difficult to feel sorry for them. But Karen somehow manages it. Now, before you get the idea that she was in it because she's also a massive Islamophobe like he was, or something like that, that wasn't why she was sympathetic towards him, okay? She was sympathetic toward him because she read an article in the British media about how his mother had supposedly psychologically abused him as a child. Now, I can't speak to the veracity of that particular article, but if it is true, that is of course absolutely terrible. But even so, her reaction is frankly a little bit over the fucking top.
On several occasions there's a catch in her voice as she begins to fight back the emotions. Then her eyes begin to well up, and then on a couple of occasions she has to wipe tears away from her face.
Karen, the dude killed 77 fucking people. How can you get that emotional for him? Okay? Look, if he was fucked up as a kid, that's terrible. But he went on to kill 77 people in a double terrorist attack. He is to blame for the murder of scores of people and the injuries of fucking hundreds of people. Or at least, that's how any sane person would see it. But unfortunately, Karen has a different take on things. Can you guess who she blames for his actions?
Part of me is thinking that as much as feminists want to lay Anders Breivik on the doorstep of the MRN, he really belongs on the doorstep of feminism.
Yes, of course she blames feminism, because she's a religious anti-feminist. And I use that word genuinely, okay? She is religious in her fanaticism, in her zeal. Now, staying in that part of the world, there is a particular country in Northern Europe that Karen has a massive hate boner for. Let's see if you can pick up on which one it might be.
This proposed Swedish model.
I believe this is in Sweden, but I'm not 100% yeah, Malmo, Sweden. Education Minister Tobias Krantz wrote in an article in Sweden's leading daily, Fuck Your Name, Swedish paper. Sounds entirely suited to the utopia of gender equality that is Sweden.
In Sweden, they're proposing to actually reverse the burden of proof.
Sweden, the Saudi Arabia of feminism.
Sweden, the Saudi Arabia of feminism will...
Yes, the Saudi Arabia of feminism. You fucking mental case. But anyway, let's move on, shall we? Because now it's time for... Yes, it's the inevitable bit about rape.
No, no, no fucking way.
Yes, it is, Karen. Okay? Anyway, for Karen Straughan's inevitable bit about rape, there is just too much to fucking choose from. So I've gone for a little-known gem that comes from a hangout she did with one Dariush Validzadeh. Yes, that's right, the king of the rape advocates, Roosh V.
Okay, so we do have to talk about this whole rape on private property thing. You know, of course, you know that we have to talk about it because everybody's got to talk about it. Why should I be any different? Now, you sort of you've always called it satire, and I always kind of was of the opinion that it really didn't matter or not whether it was satire. But you said in the documentary that it was a sort of a satirical thought experiment to make a point about personal responsibility. And I think that's actually something, I'm actually really glad that you wrote that article, because although I probably would have been happier if I'd written it.
Well, there you go. She doesn't care whether it's serious or it's satire, and she wishes she had personally written the article. Now, that brings up a couple of questions. Firstly, does Karen Straughan wish she had written that article from a serious or a satirical point of view? Like, that needs answering. And secondly, does this now move Karen Straughan from the section of people who are basically your commoner garden, bog standard rape apologists into the select band of rape advocates with the likes of Roosh V now? I don't know anymore. I really don't know where she falls on that spectrum. I mean, I know she's fucking horrible, but other than that, I'm really not sure. But anyway, let's move the fuck on, shall we? Now, before I let you all go and dismiss the class, as it were, I don't know, I'm talking shit now. But anyway, before I let you all go, I'd like to bring to you a couple of examples of things that really annoy me, and they're both hypocrisies on the part of Karen Straughan. They're not exclusively the only hypocrisies she does, but they're the two that have annoyed me the most. The first of which is that she constantly has a go at feminists for using what she calls shaming tactics.
Some of the shaming tactics that feminists use, I keep hearing from the feminist camp that yet feminists would still have us all believe that women have been living under the boot of male oppression all through history. One of the most reliable shaming tactics feminists and other women's advocates have used to bully or silence men.
Like you're morally superior to us.
Yeah, and anybody who is a non-feminist is actually intellectually bankrupt. That they just don't know, they just don't get it. There's something missing there. There's something missing in their brain.
But yet is an absolutely rapacious shamer herself.
And you really see it in the gynocentrism of manginas and white knights. Just do me a favor. Just do me, like right now, just check your junk. Just to make sure. I'll wait. It just seemed to be an exercise in vagina gazing, gynocentrism. In the name of your favorite gender bigots. The psychiatric community needs to include feminism in their big compendium of mental disorders. White knights. I mean,
Are you actually a guy? Serious question.
Hypocrisy. Thy name is Karen Straughan. But what annoys me more about that has something to do with money. Now, more specifically, the fact that she's sort of bought into the MGTOW philosophy that women are only with men so that they can extract wealth and resources from them, and that basically women are sort of incapable of love, at least some, if not most of the time, maybe, possibly, I don't know. They don't really have like a well-defined idea of what the fuck is going on in the world, because they don't have a clue about anything that's going on in the fucking world.
But they did mention that there'd probably be less money changing hands. Forcibly extracted male wealth, and men are useful. Hashtag give your money to women. Or how about the man tax that feminists have suggested? Or giving bonuses based on vagina that one university in Australia is doing. Government programs to help women make ends meet. Where do you think all that money is coming from, ladies? It's primarily coming from men.
So she thinks it's terrible that women use men to get wealth and resources. She would never do anything like that herself, right? No, wrong. Of course she fucking does.
Hi everyone. Thanks to everyone's generosity, I was able to attend Gamergate in Toronto not long ago. Pledge a one-time donation of $35 or more, or an ongoing contribution of $5 or more per month. Hello everyone, it's fundraiser time at Honey Badger Radio, and we're asking our viewers to help us out with promotional costs for 3 upcoming events. Our next goal is getting me to South by Southwest's Open Gaming Society Save Point panel covering Gamergate. This could be a breakout situation for Gamergate, and we'll be there on the front lines. And I'll be hooking up with... interviewing Mercedes Carrera while I'm there. So anybody who wants to see me, Paul, Sage, and Hannah be able to make it to this conference in London, please donate to our Kickstarter and help us make it happen.
I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, she thinks it's terrible that one woman takes advantage of one man, but she thinks it's okay for her, one woman, to take advantage of fucking thousands of men. Not just that, but the MRAs fall for it all the fucking time. I mean, it's like someone doing the 3-card trick to you, but with the cards facing up, and yet they still pick the wrong fucking card. It's mental. Now, before anyone jumps up at me and says, what's wrong with fundraising for, you know, an effort to do something or whatever? Yeah, there's nothing wrong with fundraising. I mean, I've got a Patreon account, right? It's linked below. Hint, hint. Like anyone's going to give me any fucking money. Anyway. So I've got nothing wrong with fundraising as such, but it's the nonsense of saying it's terrible that a woman would take advantage of a man, and then doing precisely that to thousands of them. So that you can go on trips all around the world. You can go to London to meet up with Mike Buchanan. How the fuck is that advancing any men's rights issue? It's ridiculous. But anyway, let's wrap this shit up. Karen Straughan, as I've pointed out a couple of times so far, is essentially a religious anti-feminist. She thinks that feminism is the devil or whatever, okay? But with all of that unpleasantness dealt with, there's just one thing left for me to say. Karen Straughan, go fuck yourself.
Jesse is a friend. Yeah, I know he's been a great friend of mine. But lately sounds strange, really hard to define. Jesse's got himself a girl, and I wanna make her mine. 'Cause she's watching with those eyes, and she's loving with that body. I just know it. He's holding her in his arms late at night. You know, I wish that I had Jesse's girl. I want Jesse's girl. Why can't I find a woman like that? I play along with the charade. There doesn't seem to be a reason to change. And I feel so dirty when you start talking truth. I wanna tell her that I love her, but the point is stopping her. She's watching her with those eyes, and she's loving with that body. I just know he's holding her in his arms late at night. You know, I wish that I had Jesse's girl. I want Jesse's girl.